Hey, thank you for clicking on my video. I have a great show planned for you today here. I'm going to be talking about the student loan crisis here on The Vibes by Clyde. But first, to preview the vibes, I have a main event coming up at the end of the show where I'm going to review this video of a woman talking about the consequences of not paying your student loans back and how it can come up and price you out of life. But first, I'm going to start with the funny vibes, where we see a guy getting a call from Sally Mae, and we're going to see his reaction. Then we're going to have some gloomy vibes, where we talk about how a woman is crashing out in her car about her student loans. Then we're going to have some real vibes about student loan wage garnishment. So make sure you sit back, relax, and get comfortable. If you're at work or driving somewhere, just plug me in and hey, take a listen. I'm here all day. It's a one-man show. This is The Vibes by Clyde. Hey, if you like the vibes, then please subscribe. So first, let's watch this video to see what she had to say about the consequences of not paying your student loans back.
Themselves are the consequences of not paying back any loan that you agree to pay. Of course, it becomes past due. You have late fees that can get assessed interest, can increase your balance a lot more than what you originally owed, because going so long without a payment, interest still gets charged daily or monthly.
All right. So yeah, that's just a little preview of what we're going to see from that video when she talks about student loans and how it affects her in her life and what she did to pay them back. And so we're going to hear her story. But first, we are going to watch this interesting video of a guy who gets a call from Sally Mae. Now, I don't know about you, but if you went to school before, you know you get that dreadful call from Sally Mae, and she's gonna come after you. She's gonna keep talking. She's gonna keep trying to get a hold of you so she can get her money back, and rightfully so, because hey, you owe her. So we're gonna see what this guy's experience is when he gets a call from Sally Mae. All right, let's hear it.
Hell no.
Bro, you know you need to pay them folks.
Man, fuck Sally Mae.
Alright?
I ain't
Keep
never
going.
paying nothing back. Huh?
Alright?
I'm not
Alright,
playing, bruh.
You ought to be
Shit.
shamed for real.
No, they ought to be shamed. Who in the
Alright.
hell loaned $80,000 to a damn 18-year-old without a job? Huh?
Man,
Somebody needs to, not somebody, me. I'm teaching them a
Bro,
lesson.
you
How
that ain't how it
craziness
work,
is that
bro.
shit? Huh?
You got them
Yeah,
folks
I'm
money,
not,
bro.
you crazy. You pay yours back. You pay yours back.
No, see, we ain't talking about me.
So yeah, so I think that was a funny video because I think he made a point of who loans an 18-year-old $80,000 for student loans. So this is his channel. It's Chef Kendall. If you want to check him out, he has a lot of funny content. So yeah, make sure you drop him a like if you like that video, and make sure you subscribe to him if you like his content in general. So yeah, we're gonna talk about how yeah people definitely do get called from Sally Mae, and it can be dreadful. And yeah, I think today's Sally Mae is today's modern day villain. That's what it seems like. But really, she's not the villain. Really, it's you because you didn't pay her back. Who's really the villain here? Hey, you borrow somebody borrowed some money. Let's say somebody borrowed some money from you, and they act like they forgot you paid them all that money. And then when you call them back, they get all scared and acting like you never borrowed money from them. Talking about, why did you borrow me? Why did you give me money anyway? Now that would make me think, you know what? You're the villain at that point. It's not Sally Mae. At that point, it's you. Okay. Anyway, so also you got to make sure you take the call, please, from Sally Mae. If you get her call, don't ignore her. Okay. She's gonna call back. Okay. Just don't ignore her. But if you do decide to answer the call, or if you do decide to call her back, which you probably should, make sure you are prepared for the call. See if you can get all of your numbers in order, all of your finances in order. See exactly how much you can pay back so that you can really pay this woman back, because she is not going to be happy about you taking her money and not paying her back. All right, so now we're going to read some of the comments on this video. Let's see what some people said about Sally Mae not getting her money back. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are in this boat where they just feel like it's so much money that there's no way they can ever pay her back. Somebody says, but won't give personal loan to an 18-year-old with a job. I mean, hey, it is hard to get a student. It is hard to get a business loan, I would say. I would say it's 10 times, maybe 100 times harder to get a business loan. Okay, so we don't have too many comments on that one. But yeah, it's definitely give this guy a follow because he does have some funny content. And yeah, just take a look at his other content and see what else you think about it. But yeah, make sure you try your best to make some type of agreement with Sally Mae so you can pay her back. Because hey, I mean, at the end of the day, you borrowed the money. Okay. Once you sign those papers, you are on the hook for that money. Okay. Don't think that it's somebody else's fault. Don't think it's somebody else's responsibility. People want to get their student loans paid back. And I believe hey, if you do want to get your student loans paid back, I mean, hey, that does kind of make a little bit of sense if it's, to a point where it's just impossible to pay back. But at the same time, you did make that decision to sign those papers. Even if you were 18, people want to say, "Oh, 18 when you was a child." No, you're not. You're not a child at 18. You are 18. If anything, yeah, you know what you're doing. Okay, you might act like you might not know, but you kind of know. At least you have an idea. You know what a loan is. At least don't act like you don't know what a loan is. Oh, I didn't know what I was doing, but yeah, it's a loan. Okay, what do you think loans were? A loan is different from a grant. It's different from a scholarship. We all know this. Before you even leave, I'm pretty sure by the time you get out of high school, you know this. You should know this. It's common sense, common logic. If you don't know this, then you shouldn't be in college anyway. You probably shouldn't be in college in the first place if you didn't know that loans have to be paid back. All right. So, hey, I know a lot of people really want the government to pay their student loans back, or they really want their parents to pay their student loans back, or they want their parents to pay their student loans before they even go to school. And hey, if you got that connection, I'm with it. You use that connection. Okay, if your parents say, "Hey, I'm willing to pay your student loans," please let them pay your student loans. I don't want to hear no, "Oh no, mom, it's okay, dad." I no, if your parents are willing to pay your student loans, please let your parents pay your student loans. That's what they're, you know, that's what they want to do. Let them do that because I promise you, paying back student loans is 10 times more difficult than having your parents pay it for you, especially if they've saved up all the money all that time. Now, I don't even know who would decide not to take money from your parents. I mean, but hey, if you're in that situation where you're like, should I take money from my parents to pay back my student loans? If they're willing to give you that money back, I would say you should probably do it just because you will take years. It probably takes longer than a house to pay back your student loans if you are way in a hole. All right, so now we're gonna watch a video of a woman. It says what boomers think the student loan crisis is. All right, so we have a big generational divide between boomers and uh, you know millennials and Gen Z when it comes to student loans. Back when boomers graduated from college, they were probably able to pay back their student loans within 10 years at the most, probably. Maybe they was able to pay it back within a few years, possibly even. Imagine going to school and getting some student loans and you can pay it back within a few years. That would be crazy. you know. But we don't have it like that now. So yeah, boomers are looking at us like, why don't you just pay him back? Why did you borrow that money if you didn't know you could pay it back? But I mean, everybody thinks that they can pay the student loans back. It's not like you're doing something intentionally, uh, you know, and it's not like you're intentionally trying to game the system. You think that you're going to make a lot of money when you get out of here. I know when I was growing up, it seemed like, hey, if you don't get a degree, you're not going to make any money. And I was thinking, hey, if you get a degree, you can still make money and live. But if you get a college degree, I mean, if you get a diploma, you can still make money and live. But if you get a college degree, I'll be making a lot of money. That's what I thought. That's what everybody in my generation thought. Once you graduate, you'll be making a lot of money. And it's not, I don't think we were completely unrealistic. I'm pretty sure we thought that we had to have entry level positions and eventually we had to move up, but um, I'm pretty sure that most of us didn't believe that we'll be able to get out and just make a lot of money. you know, I did believe that there would be an amount of working. I just didn't think it would be working for a very long time and still not making decent money. But I think it also depends on your major though. So we'll get into that a little bit later also. Anyway, let's see what boomers think the student loan crisis really is.
Oh, yes, well, I know I said I would pay back those student loans, but I've decided I don't want to. I don't ever want to grow up. I want to stay a child forever.
Hi, yes. So I have my student loan pulled up here. I've been making the minimum payment on time for 10 years and I now owe more than I took out. So I was wondering what's that about? The interest accrues faster than you can pay it off. Oh, that's neat. How you guys were able to do that. What is the interest, by the way? I can't see it on this. It's 13%. Okay. That makes sense that it would be that. Hi, I just graduated and I noticed that my student loans are way more than I originally took out.
Yeah, and that's what you're gonna see a lot. It's called interest though, and she said 13%. That's what's really gonna get you. You think, okay, well, I'll take out, you know, $20,000 a semester, but 20,000 a semester is a lot because one semester is not a year. One semester is, yeah, one semester is like half of the year, so you still need to pay for that other semester. So yeah, that's where it gets kind of crazy. So you really got to make sure you look at the fine print, look at the what is it called, interest. If you haven't started to go to school yet. But think about how much that could really be. Just add on a tens of thousands of extra dollars whenever you sign a student loan contract, because that's what it's most likely going to be.
It was accruing interest while I was at school. But it says the principal is more than I took. When I graduated, you combined the accruing interest into the principal. So now I took out $55,000 and it's saying that it accrued $20,000 while I was at school. So now instead of taking the 10% interest off of 55,000, you're taking 10% interest off of 75,000? Wow. All right, well, thank you. I guess, what was your name? Sorry? One more time? Beelzebub. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where you're gonna that's where you're gonna lose because yeah, those student loans they catch up pretty fast. Um, so it says, meanwhile their tuition was 35 cents. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna get into some of these comments so we can see how people think in general. What the internet says about this video. It says, I paid 45K, still owe 10K, and my loan was 25K. So wait, that's 45 plus 10,000. So that's 45, $55,000 on a $25,000 loan. Now that is egregious. All right, somebody else says boomers couldn't survive as a young person nowadays. I mean, hey, but also a lot of young people nowadays probably couldn't survive as a boomer because, hey, they had no internet, man. They were living in the Stone Age. I mean, could you really survive there? No scrolling at all? Could you survive? I mean, hey, they had it pretty hard. Also, they had wars on wars. Look. There you go. Somebody says, I borrowed 17K and they want 60K back. They need to be... Yeah, that's crazy. You only wanted 17K. You wanted 17K and now you owe 60K. That's egregious. And that's why sometimes it feels like student loans are impossible to pay back. It's like a you can't win situation. I wish I had that soundbite, but pretty much you can't win in this situation because either, yeah, sometimes maybe it is like you can't win because either like you don't get a college degree and you just get a regular job and then you suffer with minimum wage for the foreseeable future and hope that maybe you get an, what is it called? Hopefully one day, maybe you get a promotion to somewhere higher in the store or the restaurant or wherever so you can make some decent money. That's one of the only ways you can get out of that situation. But there's also other ways like trade school and also you can get a business loan. But as we talked about, it's kind of hard to get a business loan. I would assume it'll be a lot more difficult than getting a regular student loan. for whatever reason. I still don't know. Somebody says my student loan payments are almost double my mortgage. Love that. Wow. Now, how are you supposed to live in your house and pay back your student loans? Somebody says, okay, how am I supposed to read this? You pay loans back. That's how it works. Okay. A guy who declared bankruptcy to escape his credit card debt. Wow. Okay. I don't know who said that, but all right. Somebody says, girl, I thought that transatlantic accent was the sound. Okay. All right, let's do a few more. Somebody says, I know this isn't the point, but somebody's really loving these accents. Oh my goodness, I can't even notice. I didn't really notice it too much. All right, somebody says, literally cried, nay, sobbed with joy when I was able to take out a personal loan to pay off my student loans. Wow. My boomer parents said that made no sense, but I slashed the interest rate and paid it off within years instead of never. Okay, well, that's good. Hey, look, people are paying back their student loans. Everybody's not just sitting on their hands hoping that the government pays it back for them or paying as little as possible for probably the foreseeable future until you die, pretty much. You're going to be paying your student loans back until you die, for the most part, if you're trying that way. But I mean, what are the other options though? There aren't really too many other options, except for bossing up. Okay, that's why I'm a proud promoter of the boss up. Please, hey, you need to boss up out here and figure it out. I mean, hey, I don't have the answers. I don't even know how you're supposed to boss up. I don't even know how I'm supposed to boss up. But hey, try something new, get uncomfortable, get out your comfort zone, and make some money out here because it's only going to get harder. All right. Somebody says, I took out a single $4,000 loan for a single semester. Somehow, it's now 3,875 15 years later. Does that say 38,000? I managed to pay back 15K loan in 6 years. I'm pretty sure that means 38, but like, yeah, I don't get that one. Unless they mean 38, because I don't see how your loan can get shorter. Okay. Anyway, let's do a few more. Somebody says, boomers paid on average $45,000 for college. Tuitions and fees have gone up 133% since the 80s. Now, I'm not sure if that's true, but if that is egregious. That is 100% egregious. And we can see why millennials and Gen Z is going to have a really hard time paying them back. I'm not sure where Gen X comes in there, but hey, I'm pretty sure their loans are not as high as millennials and definitely Gen Z at this point. All right. It also says, and it's like, fine, you don't want to forgive the loans, whatever. But I think it would be pretty fair deal to say we have to pay back principal with 0% interest. Even that would be help tremendously. So pretty much this person is saying that, hey, I know you can't pay back the student loans for me, but hey, can you at least help me out? Help a brother out. Give me zero interest on that loan, okay? So I can actually have a possibility of maybe paying it back. But come on, people. Hey, they want their money back with interest, okay? When you signed, it said with interest. It didn't say without zero. It didn't say without interest when you signed those papers. So, hey, I'm just saying, man, we got to take some personal accountability for these student loans. So also, paying back for years, yep, sometimes they don't even pay back much. You know, you pay back for years and you look at it and it's like, did I even make a dent in the payments? It's like pouring water into a cup with holes in it. It's like, what? Like, how am I paying? But also the payment is still going up. Like, am I putting money into my to my loan to make it go up more? Like, what the heck? Anyway, so also, yeah, yeah, try to pay it back. Pay it back so the interest won't overload. Yeah, you got to get through that as soon as possible. Because it can overload and eventually you'll get in over your head where it's no way you could possibly pay it back before you leave this earth. And you'll just be paying student loans back until you die. But yeah, there's grief stages of student loan debt. You know, once you graduate and you start working in your field and you're like, okay, you know, I'm making some money. Now let me put some money towards these student loans. You know, let me start, okay? Let me get it together. All right. I'm going to figure this thing out and I'm going to take it by the horns and I'm going to pay these student loans back. But first, you got to now. You look at it, you're like, okay, let me put these, let me let me put a dent in these student loans before they start kicking my ass, So first you get the denial, you look at it and you're like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. When did I sign these papers? Like the lady said, I signed up for 4,000 and now it's 38,000. How did that happen? Like, what the heck is going on? So yeah, there's that situation. But also, you're gonna get mad. You're gonna be like, what the heck? This is not mine. You might rage out a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how you feel. Oh, that's the second stage. First stage is denial. You're like, wait, this ain't mine. Nah, this ain't mine. This can't be mine. You can't be mine. And then that's when you rage out. That's when you crash out on them. Like, oh my God, how am I supposed to pay this back? This is impossible. Uh, and then you get to the bargaining stage. You know what? I can figure this out. If I put this, that, and the third first, then I can do that fourth and the fifth. And then I can pay them all back eventually and I'll be good to go. First this, then that. I can do this. You start thinking, hey, let me make this plan work. And you start putting the plan into action and it's taking up a lot of your money. And you're like, oh man, I'm never going to stop paying these student loans back, am I? And you're just looking at it like, I just paid and I still owe tons of money. Like I put a tiny little fracture, not even a dent. I put a fracture into my student loans and that just took the life out of me. I don't have enough to buy groceries. Like, you know? So that's when you get depressed and you're like, man, I'm never going to pay these loans back. How am I ever supposed to do this? This is impossible. And then the acceptance fades. The phase you need to get to as soon as possible. You're like, okay, you know what? I got this, I'm going to have to pay these loans back, okay? I'm going to have to be hungry for a little while. I'm going to have to struggle for a little while. But I'm going to put the student loan behind me so I can be debt-free and not be paying these loans until I potentially die, So there you go. Those are all the 3 stages of paying student loans back. All right. So, hey, we're going to have more information about millennials paying student loans back. Millennials, I think we have a very special relationship with student loans because we grew up in a time where there was so many people telling us to go to college. Like, you would think that college was the only option. I actually scratched and clawed. Hold on, wait a minute. This might be loud. Okay, yeah, all right. I forgot to mute it. Anyway, I came up at a time where there was pretty much everybody telling us about paying student loans back. I mean, I said paying. There was everybody telling us about going to college. And you was made to believe that you wouldn't be able to do anything without going to college. So a lot of my peers and me, we all decided we're going to go to college because we need to make this happen. And I even remember hearing people say, hey, just go to college. It don't matter if you don't know what your major is. It don't matter if you don't know what you want to do with your life. Just go and figure it out when you get there. And I also heard a lot of people saying, hey, go for the experience. College is a good experience and it's going to help you out. And then for the most part, I heard, hey, you're going to make a lot of money when you get out there. If you only got a degree, if you only got a diploma, you're not going to make any money almost. And if you go to college, you're going to make a lot of money. So that's also what I heard. I didn't hear too much about trade schools at all, almost at all. And that's probably the best option. However, I did have a first plan to go to trade school. I planned on going to trade school and I was going to do trade school to be an electrician because I was like, I want to work with my hands. I want to be out there. I want to be in the field. I'm not trying to be behind a deck board, typing and stuff. I want to be out there like working with my hands, because I have a lot of energy. I literally have tons of energy. I'm always up, always moving. I like to be like just, moving and doing stuff at my job. So, like I said like I said before, like, hey, I need to be up and moving the whole time. That's my best way I work. I need to be, out there, out there, out there, So I wanted to be an electrician, but I got accepted into a good school and I was like, hey, let me get this done. So, hey, I mean, millennials, we really heard a lot about going to school and being productive members of society by getting a degree. And we were supposed to get a degree and make tons of money. They did say that millennials are the most educated and the least paid. I'm sorry if that soundbite was too loud. But yeah, I do believe that though, because I have a master's degree and hey, I still don't think I get paid what I should get paid for the master's degree that I have. So hey, you know, it is what it is though, you know. Anyway, let's see what this guy has to say about millennials trying to pay back student loans.
I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't afford that payment. I know it's the minimum payment, but I don't have that money anymore. Where's it going? Eggs, mostly. Yeah, son of a bitch. Well, I read the average American is paying around $275 more a month on regular household needs due to inflation. And inflation raised because interest rates raised, and you guys raised those, so I mean, you already got my money, actually. If you think about it, you already took it.
Yeah, and I think that's how a lot of millennials feel because you know, we're getting pushed and pulled in every direction. So it's like, you know, man, how am I supposed to get through here? You know? So follow this guy, like his videos if you do. He seems like he's a comedian. I haven't heard of him before, but hey, check him out if you want to. Somebody says they calling me asking why I haven't paid because I paid my rent and bought my groceries for 2 days. That's why. Because I had to make sure I had a place to live so that I can pay my bills, so that I can then pay my loans back. That's why. Somebody says woke up at 4:30 this morning, laying in bed thinking about this. The algorithm has landed. Yeah, they watching you. TikTok is watching you. They are in your brain. They know what you're thinking. Somebody says not going to. Okay. Not paying is going to make the biggest impact. I'm sorry, I can't read right now. It says not paying is going to make the biggest impact since they didn't hear us. Oh, well, you know what? That sentence doesn't make sense that much. Or maybe I just don't know how to read. Anyway, the next one says give us your landlord's contact information. That's where you'll find your money. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So your money went to my landlord. Okay. I wanted to pay you back, but I had to pay my rent because I need to make sure I'm not homeless. Okay. Somebody says my mortgage is more than half my no, my payment is more than half my mortgage. Oh my goodness. Somebody says eggs mostly. Yeah, right. Eggs. I mean, hey, I think eggs went down, but I'm pretty sure it was up there for a good minute. Now I don't know because I don't buy food. I don't know. Anyway, somebody else says we are going to see our economy take. I'm sorry. We are going to see our economy take. Is it? They mean tank? Tank when we have to start paying these loans back. Compound interest makes it possible. Yeah, I mean, hey man. Uh, one time Navient, One time I called Navient saying I couldn't pay my minimum. The salesman said, "Ma'am, you need to stop crying so loudly. Give us the money. We don't care about your situation. We don't care about your tears. We need you to pay. We need you to pay. I don't care what you got to do, but you do need to pay though." Uh, Somebody said Navient literally once told me they didn't care if I had to be homeless to pay them as long as I paid them. Didn't I just say that? Did I just say that? Hey, if you're gonna be homeless, be homeless. Make sure you pay us though. Okay. You signed those papers when you got out of college. Well, before you went to college. And hey, we need our money too. We gotta pay bills too. All right. So it says, I can't believe it. They called me when the student loans first went to pause, demanding a payment. And I was confused. I had no idea I even had the loans. Well, you knew you had those loans. They said I had no idea I even had loans. Oh, okay, so they didn't finish the sentence. I'm like, you know you had loans. Come on now. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? All right, somebody says, I forgive mine 10 years ago. Nice. Okay. And I think that teachers can can have their some of theirs forgiven if they are a teacher for like 10 years at a public school or something like that. So there are loan forgiveness programs. All right. It says, all right, you can sell your car, sure. Then I can't get to work because they won't they won't let me go to work. Okay, so you need your car, but if you sell your car, you can pay your loans. But if you sell your car, you won't be able to go to work. It's like a conundrum, you know. In that situation, of course, you can't win anyway. And in most of these situations, you really, really can't win. I mean, they kind of got you by the short hairs. I don't really know how you plan on getting out of this, but I hope you figure something out because they coming for you. They coming for you. They coming for everybody. All right, they ain't playing. It says, this is a side hustle. This is the side hustle generation. So, hey, we're gonna pay our loans back by doing our side hustles. Okay. Also, you can try to minimalize a little bit, you know? Maybe you got too much stuff. Maybe you need to stop spending on too much stuff. That's what millennials hear the most. Hey, y'all pay too much for coffees and, was it avocado toast? Y'all gotta just slow your spending down. Minimalize a little bit. Y'all buying stuff that y'all don't need. And to an extent that's kind of true. But also, I mean, it's just like the little things are just so expensive. Like I'm pretty sure, when boomers were coming up, a cup of coffee wasn't that expensive. But now a cup of coffee is very expensive and it's egregiously expensive. So it's like, okay, yeah, I need one coffee a day so I can get through the day. But like that one cup of coffee is like $12, you know? So it's like, okay, yeah, like I don't have to pay that much. It's like, okay, yeah, like I probably shouldn't be buying coffees every day, but also coffees are $12. So it's like, what? like like that's the only thing I don't get about when people say, "Hey, millennials, y'all pay too much. Y'all spend too much on stuff you don't need. Y'all buy little stuff. Y'all buy avocado toast." But it's like, I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
maybe you
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure if y'all had avocado toast, and when y'all was coming up, I'm pretty sure y'all didn't have something like avocado toast, but I'm pretty sure y'all had something stupid. Okay, that was the same as avocado toast. Okay, that you loved. All right, I don't like avocado, by the way. So hey, you're not talking to me. But I'm pretty sure there was something that you loved as a boomer. Okay, that was similar to avocado toast, but it wasn't like $12. Okay, like I do love avocado toast, and I love to eat it every day, but it's $12. You know, and we all need to what's the word, like treat ourselves a little bit. And hey, maybe millennials like to treat themselves to avocado toast and a cup of coffee. Okay. But like boomers, they treat themselves to a pack of cigarettes. you know? You treated yourself to a pack of cigarettes and a case of beer every day, okay? And that costs you less than avocado toast and what is it called? And coffee, you know? But when we have our vices, it seems like, oh, now y'all doing too much. Now y'all don't need all that. Y'all doing too much. Y'all don't need those little, you don't need those things. So, that's just kind of how I am with it. Everybody has their thing that they just need to get through the day, whether that's avocado toast, coffee, you need something to just make yourself feel ready for the day, ready to work or ready to, do something or ready to get comfortable. Maybe when you get off of work, you want to treat yourself to a nice cold glass of Dr. Pepper. Maybe you need something to just calm you down and like really get yourself into the mode, into the zone. Where you can maybe take care of your kids. Maybe you can sit down and watch your favorite TV show. Maybe you can get to work on your side gig. But you need something to comfort you. And maybe it's not healthy. Maybe it is healthy. Hey, my thing is healthy. Hey, I'm not trying to sponsor anybody here, but I love tropical smoothie. I drink that every day. Before I go to work, I'm drinking my smoothie. I need it. Okay. It is my lifeblood. People ask me at my job, hey, why do you drink this every day? And I'm like, well, I need it. Okay. It's my lifeblood. How do you expect me to get through a day without it? I would come to work late and still have my smoothie in my hand because I need it. Okay. So yeah, I think everybody just needs their thing. All right. Anyway, moving on to the next subject, we have how generations. More things about generations. Wow, we got a lot about generations today. So it says on the top of video when they tell you just pay your student loans. All right, let's see what this guy had to say about just paying your student loans. It shouldn't be that hard, right? What's a big deal? You signed the papers, just pay them.
Learn some financial responsibility and not take out loans that you're not ready to pay back. I was a kid. You could have gone to a
Okay, see, that's what I don't agree with. You weren't a kid. You were 18. I hate when people say that. It gets on my nerves. You were 18 years old. Okay, so hey, let's just let bygones be bygones. You were 18. You're an adult. Okay, people want to say they were kids until it. People want to say they kids when this hit the fan, but now all of a sudden they want to be adults for other stuff. So I don't want to hear all that. You were kids. Anyway, let's see what else he had to say.
trade school or join the military or something like that. Well, I'm not dismissing anybody who wanted to take that path, but why should the taxpayer be stuck with your bill? The United States military budget is almost $1 trillion. I do not hear this from you there are repayment options. There's plenty of ways you could pay back the loans that you took out. Yeah, but I feel like that's easier said than done. Why would that be easier said than done? We have other bills. Are you sure this isn't just your generation thinking that? Pretty sure, because I remember when I was you guys' age, I thought the world owed me everything, and I just fuck you. Excuse me? Who the fuck are you kidding? Yeah, Meemaw and Papa, I'm sorry that I didn't go to college in 1937 like you did. Back during the good old days where a McDonald's job would pay for your Harvard tuition. The way I see it, if we were able to make it through okay, you guys should have no problem. This attitude is precisely why your children don't talk to you anymore.
Oh no! All right, and he had a Cowboys hat on. I'm an Eagles fan, so you're getting some hate from me on that one. You're getting a lot of hate from me on that one. Okay. Anyway, here's the guy's page. If you want to follow him, drop him a like or whatever you want to do. So here we go. We have a comment here that says trade school wasn't even presented as an option when I was in high school, and that's what I just said. Hey, I heard almost nothing about trade schools. The only reason I was about to go to a trade school is because I researched it myself. I looked for it myself. I even went to the trade school that I wanted to go to. I signed some papers that I was going to be starting soon. I didn't sign any papers that I was going to be paying them, but I was like, hey, I'm going to start. I'm going to start here soon. Let me, sign me up. I'm through the door. But then I got accepted into a college, and I was like, you know what? Forget the trade school. I had a really good friend who told me, hey, man, you might as well come to this trade school with me. I mean, you might as well come to this college with me. It's a good school, and, we can enjoy our college experience together. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. And, hey, we're still good friends today, and I had a good college experience with him. So, it all worked out for me, except for the student loans. But, yeah, anyway, somebody says, also as a millennial, I have shoved, also as a millennial, they have shoved college down our throat instead of trade school. Now they wonder why there isn't many tradespeople. And that's true. Yeah, I'm telling you, like as a millennial, trade school was not really an option too much. And I was even thinking like, yo, why didn't I hear about this? Like what? This seems like a much better option. You can work with your hands. You can work on it was a trade school. It's like you can work with your hands to learn the skill. I'm like, why would I not want to do that? So I was like, this seems like a great idea. But then I got then I got another idea to go ahead and go to college, and I'm happy I went to college. So I'm not gonna burn college. Okay, I enjoyed it, and I think I learned a lot from there. So there you go. So also it says, I agreed to these loans when I was a minor. Okay, you weren't really a minor unless you were 17. But also I'm pretty sure. Hey, you're come on now. So it says, back when a summer job was enough to pay your way through college and buy 3 brand new Mustang or Camaros to drive there. Wow. Okay. Now you're probably exaggerating a little bit there, but that's also probably true though. You probably were able to buy a car and pay back your student loans in a little bit of time, and also have a place to stay at the same time. Somebody says went to trade school for culinary and wasn't even $20K. I didn't have the. Oh, wait. Let me start over. Reading with Clyde here. The words are small. That's my excuse. Okay. I don't wear glasses, and I'm not going to. Anyway, it says when trade school. Went to trade school for culinary. Even that was 20K. I didn't have the required loans. Wanting to do better ourselves shouldn't cost this much. Now that's some good option. That's a good idea. If you want to have a productive society, student loans should not be this ridiculous. You're talking about $50,000 a semester. You got to be there 4 years. That is crazy. Oh my goodness. Okay, so also we were literally told to go to college and take out student loans. Yeah, kind of was. I paid for college collecting tin cans on the side of the road and selling them in recycling plants just to start knocking on door. Wow. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's you. I'm not sure if that's true at all. Somebody else says, I was ready to pay 10K, not 10K plus 8K interest. Yeah. And they kind of got us also. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. They did kind of get us a little bit there. A little bit there. But hey, also at the end of the day, you also did sign the papers. I'm not gonna let you forget that you signed those papers. Okay? You put your signature right there on that line. You knew. You knew. You knew you were setting yourself up for failure there. It's like, all right, I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know they were setting themselves up for complete and utter failure. But I'm pretty sure they were like, you know what? I heard so much about college. Also, college was like really boosted us, to millennials. We really thought that like college was like the way to make money. you know, they were like, hey, if you don't go to college, you're not going to make any money, and there's no other way to do it. That's kind of a good way to think about it. I did actually think about going into the military also, but that was like the third thing on my list. I was like, okay, I want to go to trade school, or I want to go to college, or I want to go to the military. So it was like third on my list, and then it was switch from third to second. But then once I got accepted into college, I was like, okay, well, I can always go to college. I can always go to the military after I graduate college. So, you know. But we see how that happened because I still didn't go to the military and I'm been out of college for a long time. I did think about it a few times afterwards, though. So, hey, that counts. All right, so let's read a few more. It says, what people don't understand is a lot of people with student loans already paid their debt. The interest is so high that they have to pay it for life. That makes sense. I'm pretty sure, if you've been paying your college loan for a long time and you've been paying for like years on years, maybe a decade or so, and you're still paying them, I'm pretty sure you pay back most of your student loans if it was only your student loans, if you had zero interest. But most people, obviously, a lot of people have tons of interest. And there's no way you can get away from it, because they got to make their money back somehow. All right. We already talked about how, the older generation had more reasonable payments. And also, another thing is important to talk about is degrees were more valuable. I think maybe degrees got oversaturated. Like too many people had degrees and it kind of lost value at that point. But people were still paying tens of thousands of dollars for them. So, yeah. I mean, you can't really win there because, like, what are you going to do? Not go to college? And then take the chance on, trying to start a business and not getting a loan? Because I'm pretty sure getting a loan is not the easiest thing to do for a business, especially if you're 18 years old. Oh, you're 18, you want to start a business? Yeah. Yeah, right. I'm not about to give you no money. I'm about to give an 18-year-old $100,000 to start a business. Yeah, not going to do that. I'm pretty sure.
So as it turns out,
Sorry. I forgot to mute it again. It's my fault again. Hey, I'm still making rookie mistakes. I'm still making rookie mistakes here, okay? Hey, give me some slack. I'm still a rookie, okay? I'm still a new YouTuber, okay? So, let me figure this out, okay? And you can figure it out with me. We can figure this thing out together. And hey, you can watch me improve. One of these days I won't make one sound error where they start talking when I'm talking and I forget to unmute them. One day, not today though, because I already made that mistake like 3 times. So maybe next time. All right. So we have another video of a woman crashing out in her car about her student loans. Now, I'm pretty sure she's in which stage do you think she's in? Do you think she's in the denial stage? I'm pretty sure she already passed the denial stage. Now she's probably in the she probably already passed the anger phase. Because if she was angry right now, she'd probably be breaking something. Or she'd be raging out at the camera. But I think the crash out is different. This crash out seems a little sad. So I'm going to say she's in the depressed. Maybe she already passed the bargaining stage. Maybe she's in the depressed stage, where you're just like, this is hopeless. I'm paying back student loans that's never going to get finished. And I'm broke. I'm broke. I can't pay for stuff. And inflation is kicking my butt. But I'm still out here trying to pay these student loans back. All right, let's see what she has to say. All right, now I can unmute it. Also, I'm going to make her speed up a little bit because I think she might talk a little slow. Let's hear what she has to say.
The student loans that I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years have a 17% interest rate. So what I thought I've been paying off for all this time.
Yeah, she's definitely in the depressed phase. So, yeah. And we just talked about that. How, yeah, you think you're paying back your student loans, but really you're paying back your interest. You didn't really pay back the principal at all, really. So you think you're paying back your student loans, but that interest just keeps accruing, and now you're owing way more than you took out. And it's just like, what is going on? It's just a drain, and it's circling, and you're in it, and you're just going around and around. When is it going to end? It's going to end when you die, by the way, because you're not going to freaking pay those loans back on a regular salary. So you're kind of just circling the drain. Somebody flushed the toilet, and now you are gone.
I'm actually, I owe more than what I started off with. What the fuck? So, Jeff Bezos, this would be a really cool fucking time to Venmo me, bro. I owe $90,000, and I didn't even spend that much on school.
Okay, wait, maybe this is the bargaining phase. Hey, she's bargaining with she's bargaining with billionaires. So hey, maybe it's the bargaining stage, Like, hey man, help me out, Jeff Bezos, Come on, man. I can use some of that money. I know you don't need another yacht, Jeff Bezos. Help a brother out. Well, in her case, help a sister out. Okay? I'm crying in my car. Whenever you see people crying in their car, that's how you know it's getting bad. Okay? That means you was driving and you was like, look, I don't even want nobody in my house to hear me say this, okay? I need to just get this off my chest before I go in the house because I don't want people to, see what I got going on. Maybe you sitting in your car before you go to work and you're just like, man, I got to pay back all these student loans. Crash out in the car for a little while, wipe your tears off, go into work, and now you can be productive at work, Sometimes people just need to get it out, So, hey, if you need to get it out, just let it out, okay? Anyway, let's go.
Any rich person, please tap in. Kourtney Kardashian, you probably have 8 houses. I'm never going to be able to buy one because I went to college. I just signed up to be an egg donor. Guess what? Got approved. Who wants my fucking kids? I can't afford them, so start bidding more. Just fucking take them. What do you want? My left arm too? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm going to be in debt for my whole fucking life. How does that even make sense? I signed up for this shit when I was 17. This should not be legal, bro. I got upset about it at work, and my coworker was like, don't you have, a rich relative who can pay that for you? No, my family's poor. No. And the worst fucking part is, bro, look where I am. I can't go in because I can't spend money, but I just want to be here because it makes me feel better.
Okay, now, I'm not even sure if that part was I'm not sure if she was being serious on that part or if that was just some comedy. But if you really just gotta look at a store that you like for comfort, that is another type of sad. Never have I thought, let me sit outside of this car dealership and just look at it because I want to buy a car, but I can't afford any of the cars in there. That's another type of sadness. So I would say bargaining / depression phase. And if she goes in that store and starts knocking stuff over, I think she's probably on all three: depression, bargain, and the anger phase. Hey, it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. Anyway, here is her TikTok if you want to follow her. Lightweights Lessie. I think that's what that is. Thank you for letting us share your video. Even though I didn't ask, I kind of just put it on here. So hey, if you like this woman or know her, tell her she's on the Vibes by Clyde, and I had something to say about her. And I was laughing at her crying in her car. All right. Hey, it wasn't. I wasn't really laughing. Okay, it was just kind of like trying to bring some light to the situation. All right. Anyway, and look, she really put her Venmo in there. She said, "Look, Jeff Bezos, here's my Venmo." So hey, if you want to help her out, Venmo, her Venmo's right there. Alyssa, I can't even pronounce her last name. It's right there. Hit her up. Help her pay back her student loans if you got it like that. So this says, I can't afford a house because I went to college. Yeah, that's kind of what we're gonna. That's kind of why millennials are stuck in this hole. Millennials are buying houses because we can't. We got student loans to pay. What you mean? Buy a house? Buy a house for what? What money am I gonna have after I pay my student loans? Not much. And my rent for my apartment, and my house, and my car, okay, and my bills, and my avocado toast. Because hey, like I said, we need our comforts, okay. If you need your comfort, you need your comfort, okay. My comfort is smoothies. I don't know what yours is. I just hope it's not bad, like smoking or vaping, or drinking. Don't have one of those comforts. Have a decent comfort, like something that's not going to completely destroy your life, or you completely destroy your health, I mean, like coffee, it might mess up your organs a little bit. Maybe it'll make your teeth yellow, but it's not going to completely destroy your life like smoking cigars or cigarettes or drinking every day. So, hey, I'm just saying. Anyway, somebody says student loans should be zero interest, but then how are they going to make money off zero interest, people? Come on. Anyway, it says, also 13% to 17% interest is egregious. So we gotta find a healthy middle ground where people not paying their left arm and begging Jeff Bezos on the internet to get some money so they can pay their student loans back. We need somewhere in the middle, okay? Meet somewhere in the middle, people. We got to figure this thing out. We got to figure it out. All right. So it says, yep, use 31K in student loans. I graduated 10 years ago, and I owe 59K. That's crazy. All right. So America is corrupt and crazy. Okay. Somebody says, we're not going to get into no politics stuff here. So we're going to ignore that one. Anyway, it says, I graduated with 150,000 in student loans. They now are 300,000 due to interest. Accumulates $48 a day. Wow. Yeah. Somebody says 17%. It's robbery. Somebody else says, even if your family is rich, 17% interest is insane. Yes, 17% interest is crazy, especially when a loan is like $90,000, $100,000. Like are you serious? Are you serious right now? That's going to be $48 a day for the rest of my life. Wow. That's egregious. Somebody says the amount of sheer greed it takes to put 17% interest rates on students disgust me. I mean, because they know you can't pay it. They're like, what else you going to do? You want to get out here and try to get a student a business loan? What? What else are you going to do? So you're going to try to go to trade school? I mean, trade school is a good idea, but I'm pretty sure trade school is also not free. It's definitely not. I'm pretty sure college is way more expensive than trade school. So if you were to do that, you should do that part. Also, what are you going to do? You're going to go to, what is it called? Community college is a good option. You don't have to pay room and board. Okay. Also, you can save money by living with your parents, and you can eat food with your parents or at your house, So that's another perk of doing a community college. So hey, if you're gonna do community college, it's cheaper and you get the free. You don't need a meal plan because you live with your parents, and hopefully your parents don't make you buy a lot of stuff or spend a lot of money because they know you in school. So I'm hoping that they'll be like, you know what, just for these 4 years, I'm gonna take it easy on you, but you need to get a job because I'm not paying for everything, But I could see some parents just being like, hey man, just go to school and finish. Just go to school, finish. I'll take care of everything else. Just go to school, finish. Don't do nothing crazy in college. Don't go to all the parties. All right. I know you're going to have fun, but you don't got to go out to all the parties. You know what I mean? So, yeah. There you go there. Somebody says, student loans is a scam. You'll never convince me otherwise. Somebody says, what's that one up there? A literal mortgage and what I thought I was paying off was accruing interest. yeah, you thought you're paying it off, but you're paying off this much, and they're just adding more on top. Oh, you paid a little bit more off? Let me add some more on top. Oh, you paid more? I'm going to add a little bit more on top. They just constantly adding more on top, and you're just going to get into this nice little drain. Nice little drain. So it says, it's a corrupt system. College shouldn't be this expensive. Banks shouldn't be loading out 50K for student loans to 18-year-olds who can't get approved for a $500 credit card. Now that seems a little irresponsible on the bank part. Okay, seems a little irresponsible. Okay, so you can't get a credit card, but I'm going to loan you $50,000. I think the banks and the schools have something. They in bed together. Okay, I'm just saying they in there. They in bed together. Okay, banks and the banks and the schools. They're like, hey, you put your price up. They're gonna need the money somehow. They're not gonna pay it by themselves. They need to go to the military. They need to go to you, or they gotta get out here and work. Which one they gonna do? All right. And hey, I'm just gonna say it. A lot of Americans are out of shape, so a lot of people ain't looking at the military looking favorably. They're not looking at the military like that's something I really want to do. I can't wait to wake up early in the morning and work out every day. Now, me, that sounded great to me. I really did think that was going to be a good idea for me, but unfortunately, it didn't work out for me. And hey, I still got time though. I still got a little bit of time if I want to join the military. So hey, it's all the way in the back of my mind though. It's like all the way back there. Like it's just like a little tiny shred, like that small. I'm still like, maybe I could still join the military. I could still do it. I got a lot of energy. I'll be all right. Anyway, so it says, this is the issue people have with student loans, not the payment of them, the astonishing interest in the fact that it's robbery. I mean, it's kind of robbery at some point, But also, like I said, you signed the paper though, man. All right, I'm gonna leave you alone with that one. I'm gonna leave you alone on that part because hey, we sign a lot of stuff. Hey, when you sign into an app, what do? Agree to all. What is it called? You click the little check mark. Hey, agree. Check this to agree to terms and conditions. You just whatever, check it. Just give me the game. Give me the app. I want to play this game. Just let me play the game. Agree. Leave me alone. You're probably signing your life away, but you don't care. You just agree. You're not reading the fine print. That's what people do with student loans. They just get the student loans. Okay, whatever. Just give me the money. I don't care. just give me the money. I just need the money so I can get out of this school. Okay. Also, my thing was, the longer I stayed in school, the more I was thinking, oh crap, I need to finish school because there's no way I'm going to have student loans and not have the degree. Like, it's not like you can, take out student loans and if you don't finish, you don't have to pay the loans back. No, if you don't finish, you still got to pay the loans back. And that was terrifying to me. I was like, there's no way I'm not going to finish school. So then you start getting desperate. You get 3 or 4 years in and you're like, okay, now I definitely got to graduate. And then it goes up every year. Tuition goes up every year. So like last year was this much. This year, it's even more. But you also kind of want to pay it because you're like, well, I already paid this much. You're kind of chasing your bet at that point, Like, okay, well, I paid $30,000 last semester. Now it's $35,000. I might as well pay this one because I already lost $30,000. If I don't go to this semester, I just wasted $30,000. And then after like a few years, then you're like, well, I already wasted $90,000. I might as well go in for another $30,000 so I don't lose completely, lose the $90,000 that I spent on the student loan. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the more you get in it, the more you got to pay it. Because I was like, there's no way I'm leaving this place without a degree. So at some point, you're like, just give me the papers. I'll sign anything. Just let me leave and go and finish this degree. I'd rather try my best to finish this degree and take as much money as I need to take out, than to not sign these papers and not, do this degree. So I think if anything, it's a lot harder to not sign the papers once you're already in there. Now, when you first get in there, when you're 18 and you're like, okay, let me sign it. What is this? How much money do I need again? Okay. You're not thinking, well, at least a lot of people aren't thinking, well, how is this going to add up? Well, 30,000 divided 30,000 times 5 years, twice a year. Well, 4 years, twice a year. 36, not, it just kind of adds up, and that's when you start seeing the numbers just stacking up on you. It says so here's another comment. Somebody says, I started with 150K in debt and now I owe over 600,000. Now you're not getting out of that. That's one hole that I don't think anybody's going to get out of unless you hit the jackpot. Congratulations. Otherwise, you're going to be paying it forever and it's not going to be low payments. So it says, this will be a great time for the computer bank hackers to come and save the day. No student loans for everyone. Yeah, they keep hacking everything, but they can't hack student loans. We need to talk to them, okay? We need to have a conversation. What is going on with our hackers? Come on, hackers. Y'all hacking the wrong things. Y'all hacking the wrong things, okay? So somebody else said, I know I'm going to start reading comments soon, but I just like the comments. Leave me alone. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. Hey, I'm the whole show too. This is me. I edit everything. I put the slides together. I find the links. This is all me here. I set up the camera, set up the lights. I do everything. So this is all me, Anyway, so I can do whatever I want on my show, people. So leave me alone. All right. Let's read another comment. It says, also, this is the show. This is the whole show. My rambling is a part of the show. Reading the comments is a part of the show. The videos is also a part of the show. Everything is a part of the show. And it's all from me. So, hey, please subscribe if you like the Vibes by Clyde. Anyway, let's keep going to another comment. It says, I couldn't go to college because I couldn't afford it. And I'm terrified of being in student loan debt. I'm sending you so much love. Okay, see. Now, that's a person that looked at the papers and it was like, wait, the math ain't mathing. That person clearly looked at the situation and thought, yeah, this math ain't going to math out right. I'm going to choose something else. And I would like to know what that person chose. They didn't go to college. So what did you do? What did you decide to do? Did you take out a loan for a business? What did you do? Did you start a business online? Did you create content? Did you go to the military? Did you go to trade school? Like, what did you do? Because it's not that many options. All right. So this one says, someone willing to sign a 17, someone allowing a 7-year-old to sign on a loan with 17% interest is a straight up scam. Wow. Somebody says, no one's talking about how 17-year-olds out here taking loans out. And kids, remember, it's okay to go to a community college. Then I just say to them, like, hey, go to a community college. Live with your parents. Deal with it that way. Maybe your parents will let you live there rent free until you graduate. Because they're thinking, once my kid graduates, they might be able to look out for me since I looked out for them. Or they might be thinking, you know what? Maybe my kid can get up out of my house, Like, let them graduate so they can get up out of here so I can live my life. Let me have my empty nest. So somebody says, with a 17% interest rate, I'd look into refinancing. I had $200K in student loans after law school, and refinance helped me to lower my interest rate. I saw some other comments about that too. With 90K followers on TikTok, you can definitely monetize this. Okay. Yeah, so they said, so this person apparently has 90K followers. Okay. All right. Kudos to you for having 90K followers. All right. Let's get on to the next subject. Let's see what else we have on Gloomy Vibes. Gloomy Vibes by Clyde. All right, there's only one of me. And I'm the whole show. So, hey, let's see what we got going on here. Okay, I can't rhyme. I thought I was going to try to make a rhyme for you, but I can't. I just can't. Okay. Yeah, so it may seem impossible when you get to six figures. Like that person has 600,000 in student loan debt. Yeah, it's going to look difficult. It's going to look impossible. There's not going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. At least if it wasn't 600K, it might be a light at the end of the tunnel. If you saw something like 35, 40K, you might be like, I see some light at the end of the tunnel. But also, if you only spent $10,000 and now you owe 50K, you're going to be looking at that like, that's a long tunnel. I only borrowed a couple $1,000s. Well, a few $1,000s. So also, yeah, interest can make it difficult though. So you got to remember, it's going to be difficult. Also, paying back student loans can be emotionally damaging. You saw that woman in that video. she was coping by watching, sitting outside of the TJ Maxx store. Now, I have not heard of that type of coping before, ever, ever, ever. I've never thought about that. I've never tried to do that. I've never thought about, let me just sit outside of a Mercedes Benz or a BMW lot and just look at the cars, you know? Let me just drive down some nice neighborhoods and just look at the houses, you know? Now, that's a good, okay, I might have did that a few times. There's some pretty nice houses in my neighborhood. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm driving down the street, I'm like, wait, let me slow down. Especially around the holiday time, when they have the trees, the Christmas lights up or the Halloween lights up or whatever. You kind of just riding past these nice houses and you're like, let me slow down. I'm going a little bit too fast past these nice houses. Let me just imagine myself walking into this house. I wonder what it looks like in there. Do they have a windy staircase, Do they have a nice backyard? I wonder if they have an open kitchen, So yeah. But it's also financially damaging. Like you'll find yourself thinking, should I pay for my student loans or should I pay for my car? Okay, well, I can't drive to work and pay for my student loans if I don't have a car. So maybe I should pay for the car, So, and that can be barely financially stressful. And your pocket's going to be empty looking at that situation. Also, you need to get a STEM degree. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics degree. Those degrees are probably have the best chance of you surviving out here right after college, I'm talking about like entry level jobs where you can get out and just start making a lot of money. And you don't have to worry about the ladder. You don't have to worry about working for a decade before you start making good money. You can start making good money pretty much right off the bat, And then the the potential for you to make higher money is also increased because you have a lot less, because you actually, not a lot less, you worked a lot harder when you were in school. So if you can, just really try to do those, get into a STEM major. I actually tried to start a STEM major at first. I did technology. I did information sciences and technology. That was my initial plan. But I went to a public school. I went to a public school in Philly, and it was not the best, okay? I needed tons of math, and that math was hard, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not a math guy, okay? I can do some math. But then I saw they wanted some crazy types of math. They wanted trigonometry math. I was like, okay, I could try. And yeah, it wasn't too good for me. I was like, the only thing this thing is doing is lowering my GPA. So I had to switch majors, But if you can at least try to get a STEM major, go in with the idea that you're going to get a STEM degree and really try your best. Focus, okay? Don't be out here at the parties, okay? Don't be at all the parties, all up in the videos. Don't be doing all that. You need to be focusing if you're really going to see if you can figure this thing out with a STEM degree. I would say some STEM degrees are also going to take a little bit longer. Like if you try to go in to be a doctor, you got to do another 8 years after that. And that's something I couldn't do. I was like, I don't think I like school that much, okay? But hey, if you like school, you do you, okay? Or if you're really good at it, or if you really have a passion for it, if you really have a lot of knowledge from it, from high school, or maybe your parents was a doctor, maybe they were able to help you out with that a little bit. I don't know, maybe that might be a good idea for you. But anyway, we are going to get into some some real vibes. Oh yeah, which is also gloomy vibes. Gloomy and maybe I should have put this under gloomy vibes. Anyway, here are some real vibes. Well, I put it under real vibes because it's an article, a real news source. What is it by? It's by Fox. It's a Fox News source. So I was like, what? I'll put it under real vibes because it is a Fox News source, and that's the only reason, really. It's really the only reason. Anyway.
Student loan wage garnishment could start soon. Here's...
Sorry about that. Also, that's pretty loud, ain't it? Anyway, so I have AI reading this for me because reading what reading with Clyde is going to be a struggle, okay? Because around this time I get really tired. So you're going to see me chopping up. I'm going to butcher all the big words. You don't want to hear me butchering all the big words right now. All right. So it says, student loan garnishment could start soon. Here's what you can do. Okay. So in case you don't know what student loan garnishment is, that means the federal government has the right to reach into your paycheck and take your money out. Oh, you don't want to pay those student loans back? I'm going to get that money from you then. One way or another, you paying these student loans. And they don't care. At least if you talk to Sally Mae, you can work out a deal. But they said, it says here, student loan borrowers who default on their loans could see 15% of their paychecks docked by the student loan government soon. I said by the student loan government. By the federal government soon. Yeah, so 15% of your money. Imagine you just, you know, you still not paying your loans. You're kind of just hanging out. Whatever. Fuck them loans. I ain't gonna pay them loans back. They don't owe me. I don't owe them nothing. They shouldn't have given me that money. Why'd they give a 17-year-old that money? Why'd they give a 17-year-old that money? They made a bad idea. That was a bad investment. Okay? I'm gonna make you pay for that investment because that was a terrible idea. So you're just sitting around, I'm not gonna pay those loans back. Maybe you didn't even finish college. Imagine you didn't even finish college. You working your little shift at one of these little restaurants, maybe one of these little stores. You're working at one of your little minimum wage, your typical run of the mill minimum wage retail or fast food store. You forgot all about your student loans. It was 5-10 years ago. You don't care about those student loans. It's behind you. You're like, man, I can't wait until I get paid. I gotta pay my rent. I gotta pay this, that, and the third. Then I gotta pay for my car. I want to get me some new headphones. I want to get my what is it called? I want to get my avocado toast. And that check comes through, and 15% is gone, just obliterated. It's. And you're like, wait a minute. Well, not that. I guess it'll be your phone because people don't have checks in. This was a check, by the way, but people don't have checks anymore. So I'm glad I can do it like this. This is a phone. So you look at your phone like, what? You refresh. Where did my money go? Refreshing the page, like, where'd my money go? Maybe if I refresh it, it'll come back. And then you look and you say, 15% of my money is gone. That means, guess what? You can't pay one of those things or two of those things. And you're going to have to go without, Maybe you might have to go without electricity. Maybe you might have to go without car insurance. Maybe you might have to go without internet for that month or something. But, you have to restructure your finances. Restructure your whole thing because you wasn't paying those college loans. I'm sorry, that's not funny. That is actually sad. I hope that doesn't happen to you. But if it did, that would be crazy. That would be a sight to see. That would definitely put you all the way down in the dumps, and that would be hard to climb out of because some people are living just barely on their means, People just have just enough to get through the month, like no extra money to save, no extra money to go on vacation, no extra money to buy things they like, no extra money to go out and have fun. They just go to work, come home, go to sleep, wake up and go to work. I would say a good 85% of people live like that, So at that point, like, what are you working for, So yeah, excuse me. Anyway, so this one says, it's still unclear when wage garnishment will start, but there are steps you can take to prepare yourself to stop it from happening. Also, this was published on August 3rd, 2025 by Heather Miller from Fox News. All right. So let's hear what this has to say, what this article has to say. I'm not exactly sure how to turn the volume down because it sounded pretty loud. Let me see if I can turn the volume down for this particular video. Yeah, I don't know how to turn the volume down. I don't. Wait a minute. There's a button for the volume. Okay, so I'll turn it down a little bit. Let's see if that's better for our ears. All right, so they're going to start here. Where you at? Okay. Let's see what they got to say about it.
After the pandemic era pause on student loan payments ended, borrowers have had to reassess the state of their loans and budgets. According to TransUnion Credit Bureau, another 2 million borrowers are on course to default in September. The Department of Education has sent notices to borrowers warning that tax refunds and wages could be withheld starting this summer if borrowers don't take steps to restart payments. But wait times for student borrowers attempting to contact their loan servicers have been long, with many dropped calls, in part due to layoffs at the Education Department.
Okay, well that kind of helps. Like, yeah. Make sure you try to take steps to call back. Make sure you take steps to pay back these people from student loans. And you're like, oh man, let me try to make sure I call these people. You know, you get up on the phone. I'm sorry, I haven't been paying y'all back. I've been living a good life. I haven't gone on vacations. I just bought a new car. My girlfriend pregnant. How can I fix this? Let me figure this out. Because I got an engagement. I got an engagement party I'm about to go to. Okay? Because I'm going to marry this woman soon. And we also going on a honeymoon. I'm just making shit up. Yeah, so anyway, you try to call these people back. Anyway, you get the gist. You try to call these people back, and you get a drop call. At that point, you might just be like, you know what, forget it. I guess people don't want their money back. If they want their money back that bad, they would have answered the call. Because I know for sure, if I know somebody owes me money, I'm answering every time they call. Okay? I'm picking up the phone on the first ring. Hey, you got my money? You know? You won't see me missing calls if you owe me money. So, hey, if you really want your money back, you would have answered. You know? It ain't my fault. But they don't care about that, though. They're still going to be like, hey, we want our money, okay? I know we dropped the call, but we still want our money, okay? I know we didn't answer, but we still want our money. And since you didn't give us our money, you should have tried harder. I don't know. Anyway, I'm taking your money. That's what you're going to hear. Anyway, let's see what else they have to say on this article.
When do student loans go into default? By the numbers. Student loans move into default when they're 270 days past due on payment. At that point, loan holders are at risk of having 15% of their pay docked by the government, with the money going toward the outstanding debt. Timeline. It's still unclear when wage garnishment will start. Why are student loan defaults rising?
Yeah, so, I mean, that's going to give you a lot of information there. They said 270 days. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are 270 days. That's almost a year. So if you haven't paid your student loans back in this year, just know you're in default. Okay? You're in default and you're at risk of having what the heck? You're at risk of having your what is it called? Your income garnished. Okay? So, hey, I ain't here to scare you, but I'm just trying to I'm here to tell you the facts, man. I'm here to tell you what's going on so you don't get blind, what is it called? Blindsided, Anyway, let's see what else they gotta say.
The backstory? A Biden administration grace period, during which late or missed payments were not counted against credit scores, ended in the fall. Since then, millions of borrowers have seen hits to their credit ratings. Related, student loan interest repayments resume Friday. Here's how much you could pay monthly. The Trump administration announced that the government would start referring borrowers in default for collections in May. What can borrowers do? There's still time to.
Okay, so I think that part was interesting. He said, not he, the AI said, the AI said pretty much, during the, they gave a grace period, and you could pay your student loans back, and it wouldn't be counted towards your credit score. That was during COVID and everything, I'm assuming. But hey, they're like, you know what? Time's up. Time's up. We don't need that money back now. Okay. So they said, what they say? They said,
I need that money.
They said, I need that money. Give me my money back, okay? Or Rihanna's just better have my money. That's what they also said. Okay, they said you better have my money, and I want it now. I gave y'all some time. Okay, you could have paid it back. It didn't mess up your it didn't mess up your credit. You know, but now that's over. Now we want the money back now. Okay, we ain't playing no more. All right. Anyway, they're gonna give us some advice on what you can do to prevent this.
Take action. What they're saying. The most important thing borrowers can do before administrative wage garnishment restarts is to log into studentaid.gov to check whether their federal student loans are in default and take steps now to remove them from default, said Kyra Taylor, staff attorney at the National Consumer Law Center. What you can do. If you are in default, you can get your loans back into good standing by either entering a rehabilitation agreement, where you must make 9 consecutive payments based on their income, or by consolidating your loans into a new federal direct loan. The Department of Education must provide 30 days notice before it sends a garnishment order to your employer. During that time, you can request a hearing to object by telling the department that the garnishment would cause you financial hardship. You can also request that the department reduce the amount being garnished and submit documentation about your income and expenses.
Okay. So
Related, student loan delinquency is...
Okay, so that was some really good information there. So basically what I got from it is they're gonna tell you before they take your money. It's not just gonna be, hey, snatchies, you know. So check your mail, okay? Answer your phone, okay? Because you don't want that to pop up on you. You don't want to think you can pay your heat bill and you can't in the middle of the winter because you got to pay these student loans and they're going to take your money out of your bills. I mean, out of your paycheck, you know? Also, they said you have 30 days to, well, they said they're going to provide 30 days to your employer. So, hey, you know, they're going to provide 30 days notice to you to tell you, you know, so that they can get the money from your employer. I'm assuming that's what they mean. Let me just read the sentence. It says, Department of Education must provide 30 days notice before it sends a garnishment order to you. Okay, so, yeah, that's what they said pretty much. All right. Well, pretty much make sure you try to request a hearing, see if you can talk to them. Really, the only thing that's going to save your butt out here is if you call them. You got to call them and talk to them like, hey, you know, this is going to destroy my life, okay? If y'all take 15% of money out of my paycheck, I will not have a house to live in. I will not have a bed to sleep in. I will not have heat in my house. I will not have a car to go to work, you know? So you really it seems like you really gotta be proactive and let them know that, you know, hey, I'm not about to, you know, I'm not about to be surviving out here if y'all take 15% out of my paycheck. Also, they send it to your employer, so now your employer knows that you ain't paying your student loans back. I thought that's just kind of embarrassing. A little bit embarrassing. I don't know. You know, so to avoid that embarrassment, just be like, hey, you know, I can't pay this. So I need somebody to figure this out. Can I consolidate it, or can I do what was the other one? Oh yeah, they said income based. Can I do an income based repayment plan or something? Because look, I'm about to be broke. And I'm about to be on the streets if y'all take 15% out. And 15% is a lot, you know. It can be a lot, especially nowadays when everything is so expensive. You know, especially if you live in right below your means or right on your means, you know, or slightly above your means, you know. You're gonna feel that 110%, you know, where you get paid and you just got enough. You just barely got enough to get by. Every month is like, whew, man, another month. I got through. All right, let's do it all again. You know, if you feel like that at the end of the month, you are going to be screwed if they do a 15% pay garnishment from your wages. Anyway, let's see what else they have to say about this topic.
To do this, you must make your hearing request in writing, postmarked no later than 30 days after the garnishment order. Your loan holder will then arrange the hearing. If you're unsure who your loan holder is, you can contact the Education Department's Default Resolution Group.
Okay, yeah. Make sure you contact them, but also that's if they pick up the phone, because they already told us that hey, they might not be hooking the phone for y'all. Like, hey, we may not answer, but we do want our money. Okay, we want our money, but we might not answer. So hey, figure that out. Let's see what else they got to say.
If you request the hearing within 30 days of receiving the garnishment notice, the department cannot start garnishment until it issues a decision on the borrower's hardship request. You can request a hearing after the 30-day period is up, but in those cases the department will generally not stop garnishing your wages while the hearing request is pending. If you were laid off from your last job, you can also object to garnishment if you have not been in your current job for 12 consecutive months. You can further request a hearing and object if you submitted an application for certain kinds of statutory discharges and those have not yet been decided. Some common reasons for statutory discharge of student loans include, if the school you attended closed before you could complete your degree, if your school owes you a refund but fails to pay it, if you're experiencing total disability, or if you're experiencing bankruptcy.
Okay, so those are some really good options. So pretty much, yeah, just I guess the main point of that article is to, you know, communicate. Tell tell the Department of Education that you can't make these payments. Like I don't know who is going to pay these payments, but it's not going to be me. Just or at least it's not going to be me right now. Okay, I need some time to figure my finances out so I can fix my finances and eventually, you know, pay these student loans back. Just let them know that you are really trying to pay your student loans back and you're not trying to take advantage of the situation. So also, yeah, your student loans are not just go away. They're not just going to go away. So don't think that, if I just ignore them for long enough, it's going to go away. No, it's not going to go away. Also, yes, it could have ripple effects like, they take 15% and now you can't pay your car. You can't pay your car, now you can't go to work. You can't go to work, now you lost your job. You lost your job, now you can't have now you don't have a house. You don't have a house, now you're homeless. So yeah, that 15%, if they do take 15%, it could be a gigantic ripple effect that really destroys your life. So especially if you just don't talk to them, you get the garnishment and you know, you just kind of stick it out, you be like, okay, well, they got 15%. Let me just see if I can, still figure this thing out, and you can't. So make sure you give them a call, tell them your situation, and maybe they'll be able to help you out there. So also, you just need to reorganize your finances if that does happen to you. Try to, find a side hustle or something like that, something that's going to really help you stay afloat for as long as possible before they start taking all of your money. Before something terrible happens, like you can't pay for your car and your car get repoed or something like that. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, income driven repayment plans, rehabilitation programs, and consolidation are all good options to pay back your student loans if you really need to get that done, which I'm assuming you all do need to get it done because you don't want to be out here with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, getting your credit destroyed, and not being able to, boss up in life. So anyway, it's time for the main event. We just made it here. We got it. We are here. We finally made it to the main event. All right, the main event. We have consequences of not paying your student loans back. Yes, these are the consequences. Everything has consequences, people. So don't think that you're going to be able to just get out here and ignore your student loan because everything has a consequence, whether negative or positive. You go to college and you graduate, that's a positive. You go to college, you don't graduate, that's probably going to be a negative because now you owe student loans and you didn't pay them. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with my situation here. Anyway, let's just go back to the main event slides so we can, do it live. Do it live, baby. We can do it. Take your time. Do it live. We can do it, baby. Do it too. All right, stop. Yeah, I need to stop. Hey, leave me alone. That was a good song. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna try to play the video. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna start at 3:39, right where she left off at when she talked about what are the consequences to the loans. So we're just going to pick up where we left off at the end of that video. Let me see if I can open it here. Yes, there it is right there. All right, all right, all right. Okay. I'm gonna do something else live really quick because I also want to read comments and I can't read comments if I do it this way. So thank you for sticking around for the main event. I just have a minor delay here. So give me, let's say, 12 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Actually, look, I got it fixed already. It wasn't even 12 seconds. All right. All right. So here we go. We have our main event. This woman says, I didn't pay my student loans, and this is what happened. Let's see what happened to her.
On your loan. Something else that goes without saying when you have.
Wait a minute. What happened there? Okay. I don't know why she's not playing on this video. Hold on. I messed up again. Ooh. I had the wrong screen open. Okay, let's try this one.
Have a loan that is past due, is it affecting your credit score? That's something that affected us when my husband first had his student loans due that he was supposed to be paying and did not pay for a very long time. Of course, that began reporting to the credit reporting agencies, plummeted his credit score. By the time that we were actually at a place where we were ready to start working on our credit, his credit score was in the low 500s. We did everything we could to try to work on that and get that better after paying back the student loans and working on getting on a payment plan and things like that. So if you haven't already seen our video talking about how we worked on our credit score after the fact, we will have that linked in the description. And now I know that when you're first signing up for student loans and you're 18, 19, what have you, you're not thinking about the future you wanting to buy a house and things like that. But now we're at the age where people want to buy houses and things like that. So we're aware of how that could end up impacting you.
Yeah, so, yeah, like you said, that can really impact your ability to buy a house because they look at your debt to income ratio and they're going to see that, like, okay, this person has over $100,000 worth of student loan debt, and they're trying to get a house for $300,000 to $400,000. Because I'm saying, like, you're not gonna get a house cheaper than that unless it's a shack. Okay. Anyway, I mean nowadays. I mean maybe before, but not now. I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah. So it can mess up your credit, and your credit can mess up your life because, look, now you can't buy a decent house if you want to own a house, or it's also gonna mess up other things like. Now you can't get a decent price for rent. Now you can't get a decent price for a car. You can't get a decent price for, things that you possibly might want that costs a lot of money. Maybe you can't get approved for a credit card and things like that. So yeah, I think the part of it messing up your credit is probably one of the worst ways it can affect you, just because it's gonna, in America, they look at credit for everything now. They want credit for jobs even. They want credit for everything. They're like, hey, I'm pretty sure eventually you'll need credit for just about anything you want to do, especially with cost of everything going up. I can see people, things that you used to pay cash for or stuff that you used to just, do a short-term loan for. Maybe like if you want to get something for $1,000, like let's say a new video game comes out. New video game console costs like $1,000. You're not going to be able to buy that console for $1,000. You're going to need to get a loan. Not a loan, but you're going to have to pay like payment plan for it. And if you do a payment plan for it, then yeah, they're going to be like, okay, we're going to make you pay $1,300, $1,400 because we can't trust you. Now that's egregious. That's an exaggerated example, but you know what I'm trying to get to. Like, it's going to be a lot more things that people need credit for now that things are getting more expensive. And because like before, people used to be able to buy a car without a loan. You pay for it right out cash and you don't need a loan for it at all. But now, since things are getting more expensive, I'm pretty sure you might need credit for a lot more things coming up in the future here. Things that you didn't really need a loan for before. So, hey, just going to put that out there. I don't mean to scare you or anything, but that's kind of where we're going here. Anyway, let's see what else she has to say.
If you are someone watching this video and you are maybe at that 18, 19-year-old state, think about that future you and how you're going to be wanting to use your credit later. It may not seem so important now, but one day it definitely will. But your credit score isn't just for buying a house. It can also be for trying to get an apartment, buying insurance and qualifying for a good insurance rate, utilities, phone bills, things like that that you really don't even think about. All of that is impacted by your credit. Now, it's one thing if you just miss like one payment or two payments, but with our situation, the student loans, that this was when my husband and I were just dating and we were not married yet. Sometimes my husband would get calls from bill collectors. He would hang up on them.
Do not hang up on the bill collectors, okay? They are trying to warn you, hey, man, we about to cut your off, man. You might want to answer this phone, man. Hey, if you don't pay this back now, you're gonna have a reconnection fee, okay? Not only are they gonna shut it off, but you're gonna have to pay an extra $50 for a bill that's $100. Now you got to pay $150. I'm trying to warn you, okay? When those bill collectors call, I know you're like, oh man, another bill collector, but they're trying to warn you, okay? They're trying to help you so you don't have to pay extra, okay? So even though you might not want to answer that phone, try to answer that phone. Talk to those people. Maybe they might be able to help you out. Hey, I can't pay it this month. Can you look out for me so I can pay it next month? Or if I can get on a payment plan so I can pay it. Maybe you might be able to get on a payment plan where, it's easier to pay. Where you don't have to pay, what is it called? A reconnection fee or a late fee. They might be like, you know what? Okay, we'll waive the fee. Just make sure you pay it at this date. So if you could do something like that, kudos to you. But I know some people just look at their bank account and they're like, yeah, I can't pay that. I'm not even going to answer the phone because I don't want to talk to those people. I can't talk to them about a bill I can't pay. What am I going to talk to them about? Yeah, I can't pay it. Nope, I don't have the money. Leave me alone. But there might be options out there. So if you are struggling with a bill, just call them or answer the phone when they call you. They might be able to hook you up.
At that point, I was a debt collector myself. So I was like, you have to try to set something up with them, like even if it's a small amount of money. And so his mindset was that this small amount of money wouldn't do much for this great amount of debt that he had, but you have to start somewhere and at least fulfill the amount of minimum payment that you need to not be late, which we learned about later on. My husband's student loans had become so past due that they were in default. So they would have been at least 6 months past due, past the point of like making arrangements directly with the provider, but they have a different department within that servicer, or sometimes they'll outsource other companies to collect for them. By the time we got married, the student loans, a fraction of his student loans were so past due that we were getting letters and things like that, whereas it was about to get to the collection agency standpoint. So I called them and tried to make some type of arrangement with them. There were multiple different providers that we had at this point, but just this one that we had focused on that was in default. That one alone was $31,000 before we could start making payments on it. We were not making a ton of money as far as enough to have this large amount of debt feel manageable. But at that point where it was at, and I can't really say as far as needing to make payment arrangements early on, what options that they would give specifically. But with us at this point, like I said, they really just want to get some type of money in.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. A lot of these debt collectors, they just like, look, I just need you to give me something. Just, I just need it's kind of like a good faith. Like, hey, just let me know that you're trying. I know you're having a hard time in life. Maybe you're going through some hard times. Maybe you don't make enough money right now. But I just need to know that you're trying. Some of these debt collectors, they just want to know that you're trying so they can just put some numbers on the book. Like, okay, yes, this person is trying. This person is almost there. I mean, they're not almost there, but this person is making an effort, and making an effort is a big deal. That gives them trust in you, and that means that they'll be able to maybe give you a better deal, maybe make it a little bit lower, maybe hook you up with something that's really going to be beneficial for both of you. So, hey, sometimes just putting a little bit of money on it might actually be a good idea. And what she said was, he was like, what's the point of paying it? What's the point of paying a little bit if it's not going to do anything for it? What's the point? But there is a point. It's to build trust and for them to know that you're trying, and so you can put a dent in it at least. And maybe eventually those little dents can be a big dent. And hey, maybe one day you'll be able to, when you do start making money, they know, hey, this person is trying. They're doing a little bit right now, but I know if they was to make money, they would definitely try to put a lot more money on it, most likely. And, that's just just good faith, hey, like they're trying. So at least try, okay? please try. For me, because I want you to boss up, okay? I want you to be successful out here. I want you to, you know, do what you need to do. I want you to achieve your goals. I want you to make money. I want you to make sure you pay your things back and be successful out here because it's only going to get harder. So if you think it's hard now, I promise you it will get harder. Prices will go up and it will not be easier. So please pay these people back at the least a little bit if you can. So let's hear what else she has to say.
They are still recouping the amount of loan that was agreed upon. They gave us a super affordable payment arrangement. However, it was a very small amount compared to the actual balance. So if we had continued on that route, would have ended up paying on this loan for years. So we'll talk about how we got out of that a little bit later. Some consequences of not paying our student loans that you may not think about. You risk not being able to get more student aid. If you were to qualify for any forgiveness programs, sometimes you become ineligible for that.
Yeah, and that's a good one because sometimes you're like, well, I'll just go back to school. Maybe your job got a promotion. Hey, if you all you gotta do is take these classes so you can get a promotion at this job, and you're like, hey, I've been working here for 6 years. I want a promotion. Let me take this course. You try to pay for you try to go to school. You see the payments are crazy expensive. Now your job might be able to help you with some of the money, but they might not be able to help you with all of it. So if you try to take these classes and you get denied because they're like, hey, why would I give you more money? You didn't even pay for the money you owed already. Like, why would I give you more? you know? So you might be looking at that situation where it's like, well, I want to get better at my career. I want to get a promotion at my job, or I want to maybe even apply to a different job at a different, level of the same field. And you lost that opportunity because you wasn't paying your student loans, and now they don't trust you. They don't trust you to get you more money. We're not going to get more money. No, we're not going to get more money. Also, like she said, the forgiveness programs. Hey, we want to help you forgive these loans. However, you didn't even try to pay back your loans. You're not trying to help yourself. People don't want to help people that don't want to help themselves. Okay, if you don't want to help yourself, how am I supposed to help you? You've been trying to avoid these loans all this time. You've been ignoring these phone calls. You haven't been paying anybody all this time, and you want me to help you forgive your loans? No. So you gotta look at it like that. It's just it's about trust. Okay, I mean, we do have contracts and all this things like that. We do have contracts, and we do have papers that you sign and everything. But at the end of the day, just basic human trust is probably going to get you out of some of these situations. And the way people trust you is putting money on it. Money talks. You paying me, I trust you. You trying, I trust you. All right. That's all credit is. That's seriously all credit is. Hey, is this person paying other people back? Okay, yes, they are. They're using their money. I can trust you because you're using your money to pay back other people. I trust you to pay back me when I give you money. That's all it is. At the end of the day, that's all credit is how much somebody trusts you to give you their money back.
Some of the more severe consequences of not paying on your student loans could be your wages being garnished. If you don't know what that is, that's when you have a job and they give you a paycheck. However, before you could even get that paycheck, a portion of that paycheck is gone and it's being sent automatically to your provider. And that can happen with multiple types of debt, but specifically student loans. I know someone personally that I used to work with who had to deal with that. Unfortunately, their paycheck, a portion of it already being gone before they even get it, getting sent to your student loan provider. So that's just an example of you not making arrangements with them, and they're essentially making arrangements for you. Something else that some of you may have heard of is your tax refund. That's something that is automatically reported to the IRS, how much money you make if you're in America. And so that debt being outstanding, they're able to take a portion or all of your tax refund. And again, making arrangements for you if you don't make arrangements with them. That's
Yeah, and that would be crazy. I know a lot of people look forward to the student. I mean, their what's it called? Their taxes. And you might think, hey, once I get this taxes, I'm about to get me a new car. I'm about to get me a new phone. I'm about to be living the life. And then you see that money getting taken out of your taxes, and you're just like, wow, no car for you, no phone for you. Walk to work and use that flip phone. I don't know who still has flip phone, but maybe you still do. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what else you have to say.
something that You might have plans for that money. You could be using it for multiple different instances if things came up, if you were needing that money and planning on it. But in this situation, you could end up without it. So just have an open line of communication with your provider if you can, because that can just be a rug getting swept from underneath you when you're already in a bad position. Circling back to the credit reporting, that's something that can stay on your credit report for up to 7 years. If it's just getting reported as a delinquency, which is how it was for my husband's credit. So you're getting that student loan reported to your credit every single month. And if there's not an on-time payment made, that's month after month after month after month of late payments getting reported, which can tank your credit score. Another thing that a lot of people should be aware of is it is very rare to have your student loans considered in bankruptcy. You have to prove multiple things. So if that's something that is a last resort for you, keep in mind it is something that is hard to achieve, unfortunately. This entire video is not to scare anyone, stress anyone out, or anything like that. The main point of my making this video is to just make people aware and just be realistic as far as what their options are and what the consequences are if those actions aren't taken. I would never want anyone to get into the default portion like we were. It was a very scary situation. Like I said, we were still very early on in our careers and with our jobs and things like that. The money that we had coming in really just didn't feel like enough for the debt that was on our plate. Kind of belittling to us and just kind of like rude to us. I don't want to get in that position again where we owe so much money and they're just acting like we're just taking advantage of some sort of system, basically, when we're really just trying to right our wrongs. I know that some people use refinancing as a tool for student loans. Personally, that's not something that we used. We could have, because 1/3 of our student loans that we had that were not in default, that one was a type of student loan where the interest rate would go up for us every 3 months. It would go up a certain amount, which was very overwhelming, but that one we just worked aggressively to pay it off as soon as possible. Refinancing might be an option for you. Me personally, I just have a different viewpoint on refinancing. There's always some type of cost associated with something. So what I'd rather do is just take that extra cost and put it towards the debt and pay it off as soon as possible, which is what we did. But if it's something that might be out there for you, any options that you have to pay back the debt that works for you, everyone has to do what's best for them. There's also consolidation loans. It really just depends on your interest rates, and interest rates right now probably aren't going to be better than the interest rate you already have, but there are a ton of options out there. We will make sure that we have all of our sources, any tips linked in the description as well. But that is it for today's video.
Okay, so yeah, she had a lot of good information. She also talked about refinancing. So yeah, there's just know when you refinance that might also come with, like she said, some additional cost. So you want to look out for that. So make sure you follow her and like her video and subscribe if you like her vibes. Title of the video is I didn't pay my student loans and this is what happened. Okay. So make sure you send her a like. Let her know that she was featured on The Vibes by Clyde, and I had some words for her. She seems like a nice woman, and yeah, her husband should be very happy to have her because it seems like she really helped him pay those student loans and stop ignoring those people and really take it seriously about paying those student loans back. So I'm going to read some of these comments here before we head out. So it says, so in a nutshell, any organization that's selling a product or service will wind up charging you 10 times the cost. Buyers beware. I mean, yeah, because everybody got to make money out here. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Like, oh, wow. Yeah, they give me $90,000 a month for student loans. That sounds like it's too good to be true. Yes, it is. And it's a decision you will live with for the rest of your life. So you better get a useful degree or you're going to be shitty. All right. So somebody else says, not sure what they were, not sure they were exactly paused. I mean, they didn't have to pay, but interest continued. All right. So I guess they're talking about the whole COVID situation there. Somebody else says, I don't want I don't want taxpayers. I'm sorry. I don't want taxpayers paying out my loans. Just need a job and invested all of my money for. Imagine investing 120,000 for an Imagine investing 120,000 for a high need area in medicine, and some people saying that you can't work in medicine, but you have to pay all those loans off. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I think if you can't work, it should be canceled. I can't create a laboratory medical job. Yeah, I mean, but also that's kind of this is the part that I don't really get. I think if you can't work, it should be canceled. But I mean, does that mean you can't work because you're disabled? I think if you can't work because you're disabled, that could be a good reason why you can't pay it back. But if you can't work because you can't find a job in the field, that just sounds like you need to move to a different location or, find something that's close to the your major that you majored in, but just not quite the major that you majored in. I don't know. Anyway, somebody else says, here's what federal government cannot do as of 2025. Let's see. They cannot touch your 401. They said in 2025. So, hey, if you're watching this after 2025, just know this might have changed. So, they can't touch your 401k or Roth over owing your student loans. They cannot legally take your retirement. Also, they cannot force you to take. I messed up. They cannot force collections if you're still a student. Send an agent to the door and arrest you. Oh, they also can't send an agent to the door to arrest you. It is not against the law to not pay back loans, so no jail time. Right now, at least in 2025. Who knows that'll change? I encourage everyone to call the local community college and enroll in part time, at least 2 classes. Make 0 payments while in school. Re-enroll every year until the loans die off. Okay, but then you're just gonna be a lot of money in debt. So they're just saying pretty much go to school forever. Just keep going to school. 2 classes every year. Now I got to make sure I keep up on these classes, because also if you're failing, they're gonna drop your classes. They're gonna be like, okay, well this guy sucks. He cannot pass any classes, so we're just going to drop this guy, And now you can't get any more student loans because you can't pass any of your classes, and then you can't. Your whole scam is ruined. Scam ruined, just like that. All right, so somebody else said, thank you for this. I have 16K in student loan debt with no degree. I am a stay-at-home mom and already did the math. If I went to work, I would be bringing home $20 a week after daycare and gas. I'll call them and see what I can do. Okay, see? So she helped somebody out. And it looked like the creator sent a response and she said, you're welcome. See? So she's helping people out here. If you need help, hey, contact her because she knows what she's talking about. Somebody else said, people should pay their debts and not expect the taxpayers to do so. When you take out a loan, repaying the loan is a part of the deal. Yes, it's called a loan, like I said earlier. It's not called a, hey, take this money for free, or a, hey, take this money and never pay it back. It's called a loan. It's called, hey, take this money and I intend on you to spend this money back, to pay this money back with interest because you didn't have $50,000 in cash, okay? So I did you a favor by giving you $50,000 in cash. Now you can go to school. Congratulations. You're welcome. How will you repay me? Not by cursing them out, hopefully. Do not pay them by cursing them out. Don't curse out the student loan people. They are just doing their jobs. All right. Somebody says, life happens. Illness, age, economics. Should you just imprison people for being poor? All right, let's read one more comment. This one says, okay. Yeah, this one says, you can get a job no matter what it pays, make a payment. Okay, so people are really trying to help you out here. So, anyway, that's some good information there. She really helped a lot of people out there. Let's see. Oh, wrong one. Let's see if we can find. There it is. All right. Anyway, let's close out the show. Let's see what else kind of points we got here. Yes, like I said, it will mess up your credit, and you can consolidating your loans can help. And yep, I don't know why I put that there. Repayment. Oh, yeah. if you are a teacher and you teach at a public school, you can possibly get a deferment. So yeah, impact career choices. Yeah. Yeah, salary don't allow you to pay back your student loan. Yeah, so you might have a job where you can't even pay back your student loans. So that's what I talked about earlier, where I said if you don't have a STEM degree, you might not even be able to pay back those loans because you don't have a high enough income. Anyway, that is the Vibes by Clyde. Hey, if you liked the video, please wait, no. If you please like and subscribe if you like the Vibes by Clyde. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. Please like and subscribe if you like the Vibes by Clyde. I am here all day, okay? Well, not anymore. I'm about to get up out of here. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. So make sure you drop me a like, drop me a subscribe if you like the vibes.